Hello and welcome to today's webinar, The Employer's Guide to HR, where we were going to be talking about what employers need to get started with HR, but also as their business grows. So I'm just going to run through the agenda for today. We're going to introduce myself, obviously, and Sophia from Citrus HR, who's going to be taking the majority of the session. We're going to be talking about breaking ground, what you need to do as an initial employer when you first take on your first employee. And then we'll go through the rest of the stages of your business. So when you're building your business, you're expanding your team, and then at the end, making things more simple for you so you can have the lifestyle that you want around your business. And then we've got plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So you've got the chat box for any niceties and just general chit chat. So please add that into the chat box. We've also got the Q&A box. So if you can put any questions in the Q&A box, please, we can answer those at the end. So just a quick introduction to me for those of you who don't know me. I am Cheryl Sharp. I'm the founder of Think Big Financials. We are a multi-award-winning accountancy firm, and we are digital, completely digital, so no paper at all. And we are different from your average accountant because we think about how we can help you build your business, how we can help you get that lifestyle that you want, running your business around your family, your life, your hobbies, etc. So keeping the taxman happy is just the first stages of actually running your business to suit you. And I shall hand it over to the lovely Sophia, who is joining us today.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. My name is Sophia James, and I am the Partner Account Executive at Citrus HR. So I actually used to be a midwife, interestingly enough, and then I changed careers and I went and did my master's in HR. So I am CIPD level 7 qualified. And as I said, I've got a master's in HR management, and my job at Citrus is to support partners in supporting their clients. So I'm here to be able to help onboard people, get people set up, and just generally be there to offer some support. So now you know who I am, let's get cracking. So breaking ground, getting started with HR. So you're ready to hire your first employee. Congratulations. This is an important milestone. And some extra hands about the place should take some of the pressure off. So entrepreneurs are used to wearing all sorts of different hats. And if you're hiring your first employee, it's time to add another one to your already packed hat stand, the HR hat. But it's not something to be taken lightly. So donning the HR hat includes a fair amount of admin, and there are plenty of pitfalls. So getting it right is a big responsibility. People are going to start relying on you to be able to pay their rent. We've been helping entrepreneurs manage HR at Citrus HR for a decade, not only providing cost-effective software that makes HR admin easy, but our team of HR experts also provide top-level HR advice and support to thousands of small businesses just like yours. So here are some of the things that they tell us they'd wish they'd known at the start of their journey as an employer. So the first thing is just do it. Bringing new people in can seem like an unnecessary expense when you're used to working on your own. But lots of small businesses stay small because they delay bringing in the skills and talent they need when they need it. The next point is don't oversell. Yeah, of course, you're passionate about your business. You put in long hours, you live and breathe it because it's yours. And while it's important to emphasize this enthusiasm when you're talking to prospective new hires, be careful not to over-egg it. You can hire good people, but if they start with a false expectation, you may struggle to keep them. The next point we were given was startup experience. The startup environment is a kind of unique environment, and candidates coming from larger businesses, which might look great on paper, can sometimes find it a struggle to adjust to the lack of structure, hierarchy, and generally having to wear whatever hat that day's challenge requires. That doesn't mean, though, that they won't be great. We're just emphasizing the value of startup experience. The next point is attitude versus experience, a really important one. So the most likable person isn't necessarily the best one if they can't do what you need them to do. That said, hiring someone you don't like might not be much better in the long run. The attitude versus experience balancing act is something all hiring employees need to work out for themselves. Skills, however, can be learned. And despite the fact that a poor attitude is much harder to address. The next pointer was that interviews can only tell you so much. So even if you're the best interviewer in the world, you won't learn as much from talking to someone as you will by seeing them in action. So don't be afraid to test them. Ask them to solve a problem or perform the type of task you'll need them to carry out as part of their job. And finally, sometimes you just need expert help. So employment legislation is complex, and getting it wrong can be extremely costly and damaging, both for you and for your employee. Sometimes it might seem like the easy option is just to deal with the tricky employee situation yourself, but you could be potentially risking an employment tribunal because the wrong process was followed. For example, in 2020 and 2021, almost 118,000 employment tribunals were brought, and the average payout for unfair dismissal was £28,000. So if you're unsure, please speak to an expert. Getting started with HR isn't just about hiring your first employee either. You'll also need to consider the onboarding process. So will you offer a probationary period? How long will that be? How will you provide them with an employment contract? What about their workplace induction and managing staff absences and holiday requests? It might seem like a good idea at the time to get some contracts off a friend or the internet and adapt them yourself, but you are potentially risking that clauses in those contracts don't match the way your business operates. Compensation for breach of contract employment at tribunal can reach up to £25,000. You no longer need to worry about these vital yet time-consuming HR tasks. That's our job. So with a fantastic team of HR experts behind you, breaking ground in your new business will be less scary than ever before. So the next phase is building your business whilst remaining legally compliant. Super important. So you started on the right foot. What's next? So in order to continue successfully running your business, it is essential to ensure that you remain legally compliant. Not only will this give you peace of mind, but you can avoid running into any difficulties further down the line as well. So HR newbies are always shocked at the sheer weight of compliance admin involved in being an employer. So that's liability insurance, applicant checks, pension auto-enrollment, health and safety, employment contracts, and right to work checks, among a few. None of these are avoidable, and businesses caught in breach can incur eye-watering fines. But a great place to start building and remaining legally compliant is by providing your staff with an employee handbook. So an employee handbook, also known as the staff handbook or employee manual, is a collection of documents and policies outlining everything employees need to know about working at your company. As a small business owner, you're required by law to have some employment policies in place, such as disciplinary and grievance procedures. It's also a really good idea to have some other policies in place as well, dealing with things like sickness absence or maternity leave and what pay you'll provide. This way, you can make it clear to all your staff the detail of how you will deal with particular situations, as well as what you'll expect from them. Having them all in one handbook gives your employees and your managers easy access to the detail, and it gives you that aforementioned peace of mind. But why is it important to have a staff handbook? So there are a few reasons. It gives you a one-stop shop approach. So putting in the effort early to create a good staff handbook is really worth it. Not just for you, but for your staff and your managers too. They will then be able to relax in the knowledge that you've created good systems and processes that are legally compliant and will help your business run smoothly. Also, getting your staff to read and understand what's in the handbook will help you to make sure they know what is expected of them in different situations. And it gives you a clear explanation to show them exactly what to do when they don't get things right. Also, a good staff handbook lets your managers understand how to deal with situations that they might face in the workplace with an employee or with themselves, and it helps make sure that you're consistent with your approach, and that's really important. If they're not tailored to your organization's needs, you risk thousands of pounds in lost productivity and a disengaged workforce. Plus, if your industry is regulated, you can also deal with any additional specific requirements here. That's a real bonus. And you can also free up time for your business. So we know how difficult it is to take time out of busy work days to deal with queries about whether an employee is entitled to parental leave to deal with a childcare issue, for example, or whether someone can carry over annual leave into a new holiday year. If you have policies in place that explain these and other staff entitlements, then employees can take a look themselves, and you and your managers can be clear about what the company policy is. So this just makes it easy to treat everybody fairly and consistently, as well as reducing the time needed to actually deal with these queries. And a big one, obviously, is complying with employment law. So having a comprehensive set of employment policies gives you a real solid foundation for complying with employment law. There are some that you're required to have by law, such as the disciplinary procedure and a health and safety policy. That's if you've got 5 or more staff, that is. But there are also a number more that we would recommend that you have in place to help explain your approach to issues as varied as how to deal with bullying and harassment, or what rules you want your staff to follow when talking about work on social media. That's quite a big one nowadays. Your staff handbooks also allow you to respond to changing circumstances. So you may not have considered asking your staff to work from home regularly until the coronavirus pandemic hit, but now many employers are seeing hybrid working as the new norm. So a hybrid working policy is an ideal way to set out clearly and fairly what you want all your team to do, and in some cases, what you need them not to do as a minimum in your company. And to make sure that you've considered all employment law angles of flexible and remote working, especially with the most recent changes to flexible working now in place. It's also really important because you increase your protection if things go wrong. So having good employment policies in place is important to help you avoid any potential problems escalating. But it's also crucial to make sure your people know that you have each policy. They know where to find it, and ideally that you train them about the contents. That way, they hopefully won't need to guess how you want them to behave on social media, for instance. If you do end up in the unfortunate situation of an employee bringing a claim against you, so for example, for unfair dismissal or discrimination, it will be a central plank of defence to such a claim if you can show that you have a clear written policy in place which covers the issue in dispute and which was followed in that instance. Finally, it also helps you give a relevant detail and set the tone of your business. So having policies in your staff handbook which are tailored to your needs is important. So while there may be standard elements to some policies based on employment law and best practice, we always recommend taking into account any differences there may be for your particular industry, sector or size. So you might have professional guidance or even regulation from an industry sector umbrella body to take into account too, which you may need to include in your staff handbook. Your handbook also gives you the chance to include and promote elements like your company values and strategy, which can be updated as your business grows and develops. There is actually strong evidence that many people want to work for an organisation with a purpose that they feel strongly about, as well as one which is committed to behaving ethically, especially as the world is trying to become more sustainable. Including your vision and values in your staff handbook is a really great way to let new hires and all your people remind themselves about your purpose. And it's also a clear sign of your commitment to it. This will encourage potential new hires to join you and get them excited to start. A vibrant company culture will boost morale, productivity, and performance in your employees. So our HR team at Citrus HR will undertake a document review of any existing contracts and policies that you have in place, as well as provide you with an entire suite of policies tailored to your industry as standard. So the next section we're going to look at is expanding when you're growing your business. So whilst recruiting suitable talent is obviously an important part of growing your business, retaining the talent you already have got is essential. Happy, engaged employees are productive employees. So a study by Gallup indicated that engaged workers are 21% more productive. They also exhibit lower turnover rates and lower absenteeism rates compared to their peers, which signified a clear link between employee engagement and organizational productivity. Being an employer is a big responsibility, and slapdash HR process do nothing to nurture the trust and respect that a healthy workplace culture needs. So creating a fun working environment or offering free fruit will never outweigh the negative impact of repeated payroll errors, for example. You put in the time and effort into hiring the right people, the HR software, that makes it easier to hang on to them. One way of keeping on top of how your employees are feeling about their working life is by using staff surveys. Staff surveys are a really good way of keeping your finger on the pulse and monitor how people are feeling and what you can do to improve their motivation and morale. It's a quick way to get an idea of how your people are feeling either generally or about specific issues that they may have. You can see the results using HR software in a really visual report. The ongoing staff satisfaction survey also tracks changes in your staff's morale over time. So you can see whether it might be relating to the time of year, whether they're happier in the summer and they might be struggling more in the winter. You can see if there are any trends there that you can help support you in improving things. Because each report lets you drill down into the reasons why your staff are feeling the way they do. You could also keep your workforce engaged and motivated by using performance management tools such as appraisals and one-to-ones. Despite it being a well-debated form of performance management, appraisals and one-to-ones are a really useful tool to help motivate and engage employees. And actually, 65% of employees want feedback more often. To keep your employee motivated after their appraisal and one-to-one, it's really important that you follow up on any plans that you made with the employee to help them achieve their goals. Rather than trying to keep track of appraisal notes and goals on a separate Word document or loose pieces of paper, storing appraisal information in one secure place that both the employee and the manager can access, that will improve the security of what is often quite sensitive appraisal material. It will also save time and it will increase accountability. Showing employees that you're acting on the discussion and are willing to invest in them will greatly enhance engagement in their ongoing motivation, giving you the support you need to help you grow your business. And you can see here on the slide, you can see an example of what HR software, particularly the Pink Pig HR software, looks like in terms of appraisals. You've got everything in one place. You've got your employee notes, you've got your employer notes, you can ask for feedback from other employees as well, you can create your goals, and that is all stored in one place and is really easy to access and use. So the next step, honestly, possibly one of the most important ones, is lifestyle, making time for you. Time. There is never enough of it, which is why small business owners are often so dismayed at how much of this precious resource they need to spend on being an employer. The harder you work, the less time you feel you have. This is a big problem because you've got a lot to do. A business to run, customers to delight, deals to close, and there's a mountain of HR-related tasks that can't be ignored. Plus, you've got your own life to live. That HR time drain is why we work with thousands of small businesses, providing HR software that gives them back the gift of time, and it allows them to concentrate on what's important. So how can HR software actually help you get that time? Admin. So this is the big one. The HR admin associated with hiring one employee is significant. Then there's the ongoing tasks like tracking absence and leave, ensuring overtime is recorded, and running payroll on time. It's possible to manage all this with diligent record keeping and sharp organizational skills. I mean, you keep a spreadsheet, Probably got lists to help you remember things, important dates marked in your calendar. It is doable, but growth is where challenges occur. So business is going well. You hire another employee, then another. HR admin doubles, and then it triples. The spreadsheet expands, the list gets messier. This is usually the point where small business owners look for a better solution and encounter us, hopefully before something gives. So get your time back. Most admin headaches are eliminated because all of the crucial calculations are automated. So when someone takes time off, for instance, the absence is logged and all of the appropriate bits of data are updated immediately. Hands down, the most valuable contribution HR software makes to small business is bringing everything into one place, accessible from any time, from wherever you are. All your HR admin lives in a system specifically designed to make those tasks as quick and seamless as possible. And in many cases, it'll take them off your plate altogether. Say hello to self-service. So self-service, if you're yet to take the dive into the world of HR software, this will be music to your ears. So self-service is the idea that your people are empowered to take responsibility for elements of their own HR admin. And unless you want everybody poking around in your sensitive HR data, a good idea, is only possible with HR software. So self-service can start as part of the onboarding process, where important documents, essential policies, and personal information like bank details and next of kin all live on the HR system. So the individual logs in and they can take care of these tasks themselves by creating their profile and giving them access, perhaps as soon as they accept the job offer, maybe even before they start. You're setting the tone for their employment, saying, this is yours to manage. From then on, if they want to book holiday or they want to check leave allowance, maybe see their pay slips, their most recent performance review, or update their bank details, they know where to go and it's not on you. You've got a business to run after all. Accuracy. So accuracy, bottom line, if you run HR without a specialist tool, you're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. The serious consequences of inaccuracy come in the form of compliance breaches, a bit like we were talking about earlier. So say, for instance, an employee joined straight from college. Their minimum wage rules didn't apply to them until their 22nd birthday. That was a while ago now. So how old are they? I'll have to check that spreadsheet. But before their birthday, HR software would notify you that you're risking a breach on their pay conditions. Your spreadsheet doesn't do that. Compliance reminders can also save you from missing important deadlines, like health and safety inspections or document expiry, and save you a ton of headaches. Then there are the small mistakes that you waste time putting right. So they damage trust between you and your employees, who, as I said earlier, rely on you to pay the rent. Holiday mix-up or delayed wages will erode goodwill faster than they can say, here's my resignation letter. Hiring good people takes time and money, so hanging on to them when you find them should always be a priority. The next way that it saves you time is by automation. Every time someone takes a sick day or does overtime, it impacts holiday entitlement. So every pay rise, every change of working hours impacts their benefit and tax deductions. Anytime something changes in your HR data, it sets off a cascade of updates that must be made. This is a complex, time-consuming, and often confusing web of interrelated admin tasks that can easily tie you in knots if you don't stay on top of it. Decent HR software will update and calculate all of this in the back end, so your records always align. Automation is how HR software gives you back your time from the maze of regulations and responsibility that is HR management. And finally, reporting. So reporting is a big one in the world of HR. Say you're about to have a performance one-to-one. You might want to know how many sick days the employee took this year. How often have they been late? How much is their basic salary? When did they last get a pay rise and what was their last bonus? Rather than spending half an hour rifling through notepads or spreadsheets, HR software can tell you this in seconds. In fact, with Citrus HR and in the Pink Pig HR software, you can combine any of the information in the system to reveal genuine insights on the health and direction of your business. So, for example, if you wanted to know what your average employee turnover is, what's your cost per hire, how is overall employee engagement trending over time? When these questions crop up, it's usually because you need answers quickly. And with all your people information in one place, accessible in a few clicks, that's what HR software is designed to enable. So, in conclusion, if you're concerned about keeping on top of your HR admin, whilst simultaneously remaining legally compliant, growing your business and living your own life, a reliable HR software plus a knowledgeable team of HR experts might just be the answer that you're looking for.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you, Sophia. That was really interesting and definitely very useful. Yeah, so we'll open the floor to any questions. No, we've got a few already. So one of them was how many people in these support centers? So when you ring up and you speak to people, how many people have you got there giving that support and everything?
That's a really good question. Actually, it's a question we get asked quite a lot because a lot of people have not had great experience with call centers and customer support, whether that's within HR or whether that's in any other aspect of life. But at Citrus HR, in our customer support team and our HR team, we have 8 total customer support staff and we have 14 HR experts. And the idea is that both with HR and with customer support, you and your company will get designated a specific member of the team. So when you call up, obviously, if they're not in that day, you'll be able to speak to somebody else and they'll know about your case and they'll know about your issue. But their idea is that you'll have someone designated to you. So you get that far more personal level, because the idea is that we are the friendly HR experts. We want to be there for you. And we don't want you to feel like you are just another number, because you're really not to us.
Like, fabulous. And I think it's really nice to hear. And it's something that Pink Pig, we give that personalised service. So that's something that we really wanted to make sure that we continued through into Pink Pig HR and our partnership with yourselves, obviously. So thank you for sharing that one. And another question, and one of our lovely clients actually asked this the other day, so I just thought I'd share it on here as well so that everyone can know the answer. So if you've got like multiple teams and managers and things like that, can more than one person approve holiday requests, or will it all be on one person to do?
No, so we definitely won't be on one person because we understand that obviously if that person is away or they're sick, someone still needs to approve holiday. So there are a variety of options with holiday approval. You can either set approvers as to be a specific group. So you can set all managers to be able to approve, or senior admin, for example, but you can also set specific employees. So if you have somebody that you want within the admin side of things to be able to approve holiday, you can set them specifically plus somebody else. So it's really flexible around that.
Fabulous. And then I've got a couple more. So you mentioned earlier that you do the document review when people join. So is that you review absolutely, you give them, or they'll give you, sorry, all the documents they've already been using, contracts, policies and things, and you'll review it all and then advise any updates and things, and that's all covered in our support service?
Absolutely, Cheryl, yeah. So when you first start with us, our HR team will do a thorough review of all of your existing documents. Just as you were saying, they'll check that they're up to scratch and legally compliant, and they'll advise you on any changes that need to be made otherwise. Also, a lot of clients come to us and they haven't necessarily got all the policies they need. And we have a suite of policies that we're able to give you, but our HR team can also bespoke them for your company as well. And that is all included within the price.
Fabulous, thank you. And then last question. So obviously taking on somebody new is like your first employee is a huge thing. You just have no idea what you're doing generally. With SafeHR and the software and everything, we can have a process in place to actually the steps to follow and everything, and that generates the offer letters and the contracts. How easy is that all to follow?
And I'm saying this from a personal level as someone who's not necessarily the most tech savvy, but if I find it easy, anyone will find it easy. It's all in one place. We're able to, you've got a customer support team there. So if you are ever unsure, you can just give them a ring and they'll be more than happy to walk you through things. But everything is in one place, step by step. There's help text throughout the system to help you as well. We've got a suite of help guides that we're actually revamping at the moment that are looking fantastic. So there will always be support there if you're unsure. But overall, one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we get from customers is just how easy the system is to use.
Fabulous. And I can confirm that actually we have used the system obviously, and it is nice and easy. Fabulous. Well, I haven't got any more questions. I'm just double checking nothing else has come in while we're talking. No. Cool. But if we have got questions, and anyone watching the recording, if you've got any questions, then please do send them over and we will get them answered for you. Cool. Well, I think we shall leave it all there, but just a huge thank you to everybody for joining and for watching the recording. We hope we've answered all your questions, and that process of employing and doing all the compliance stuff has become a little less scary. Find out more today on our website. The link is up there. We will follow up with a copy of the recording as well as some links. But any questions, then please do feel free to give us a call.